Welcome back to the movie summary. Today, I will introduce to you the 2011 science fiction film 15 Million Merits. Spoiler alert ahead, pay attention. In the distant future, the poor live in complexes where they have to pedal stationary bikes to earn merits, a currency used to pay for every daily action. Everything costs merits, from food to toothpaste every morning. Their rooms are small squares surrounded by screens to watch shows and play games, all of which require payment. Adult advertisements also appear all the time, even when they're in the bathroom, and skipping them also costs merits. Everyone has an avatar in the system, and purchasing clothes or accessories for it also requires merits. They don't have vacations or free time. The complex is their only life, unless they spend a large amount of merits to buy a golden ticket to join the Hotshot talent show, which could offer a better life. One of the cyclists is Bing Madsen, who has over 15 million merits. He is not a spender, preferring to keep his avatar simple. He frequently skips ads and spends his time playing games. Bing doesn't care about the talent show or the silly comedy films. He just pedals and listens to music or enjoys the scenery. This is in stark contrast to Dustin, the cyclist next to him. Dustin is rude, laughing at silly comedy shows, watching adult films right in the cycling room, mistreating the cleaners, and mocking those who have health issues from cycling. Bing doesn't like Dustin, but he doesn't ask him to stop. Another colleague of Bing is Swift, a young girl who plays the violin while cycling and has feelings for Bing. One day during lunch break, Swift teaches Bing how to get apples from the machine when they get stuck and tries to talk to him, but Bing just thanks her and returns to his table. Later, while Bing is playing a game, another advertisement appears. Fed up, he closes his eyes to rest, but the system immediately signals with red screens, urging him to continue watching. Bing opens his eyes, and because he has surplus merits, he decides to watch an adult film. The next morning, when he got into the elevator, Bing met a new colleague, a beautiful girl named Abby Khan. One of the cyclists no longer appeared because he couldn't take it anymore and had switched to becoming a janitor, which Dustin later mocked in the bathroom. Bing heard a wonderful voice singing from a restroom stall and discovered it was Abby. Bing began to develop feelings for Abby and tried to strike up a conversation with her, but he didn't know what to say. His awkward attempt was interrupted by another advertisement appearing on the screen, forcing them to return to work. Abby replaced her colleague with cycling, while Bing kept glancing at her from time to time, which made Swift jealous. During lunch break, Abby made an origami penguin, but when she placed it on her bicycle, the janitor took it away because it wasn't allowed. At that moment, Bing noticed Abby looking back at him. When he went to bed that night, he couldn't stop thinking about her and sang along to the melody he had heard from her in the bathroom. The next morning, seeing the Hotshot advertisement on the screen, Bing had an idea. He saw Abby's apple stuck in the machine and taught her how to get it out, taking the opportunity to chat with her. Abby had just turned 21, the age when people start joining the Viking system. She wanted to join a different complex like her sister, but that complex was full, so she had to stay here. Bing told her about Swift's joke about healthy food, that unhealthy food is cheaper but makes you burn energy later, which makes you crave more sugar, creating a cycle. Bing also told her that he had heard her sing and thought her voice was beautiful, but Abby modestly said it was just a family song passed down from her mother. Bing suggested she join Hotshot, and if she didn't have the 12 million merits, he would give her the remaining amount. This was the money he received from his brother who passed away last year, and he almost never used it. He didn't want new apps or clothes for his avatar. They were all just vanity. He wanted something real, to escape the daily monotony. Bing believed Abby had that, and after much persuasion, Abby agreed to participate, on the condition that he would be with her. When he returned to his room, Bing discovered the golden ticket cost 15 million merits, not 12 million, leaving him with only 9,000 merits. Despite this, he still decided to go through with it, and when Abby received the gift, she responded by having her avatar blow a kiss towards Bing. The next day, Bing and Abby took the elevator together to the floor where the show was filmed. Abby gave Bing an origami penguin, explaining that it could be folded flat so he could hide it in his belt. In return, Bing took her hand to comfort her when he saw her looking worried. When they arrived at the studio, Abby was allowed in because she had the golden ticket, and introduced Bing as her friend and family. Therefore, Bing received a temporary tattoo on his arm to allow him entry as well. The waiting room together, which was filled with contestants waiting for their turn, some who had just arrived, but others who had been there for a week. However, Abby didn't have to wait long thanks to her beauty, and she was chosen to go next. This made Glee, a singer, complain about the disrespect towards the order of contestants, but the security guard reminded her that he was just following the manager's orders. Abby was then taken to the screen for a test, where she had to record a video in front of the camera, saying that she wanted to become a famous singer. Immediately after, she was taken backstage. A stagehand handed her a drink called Cupliance, but Abby tried to refuse. She was told that all contestants had to drink it to calm their nerves and prevent vomiting. Abby drank it and felt a little dizzy, but still walked out on stage to perform. The three judges, Hope, Charity, and Wraith, were waiting for her. Hope encouraged Abby to continue singing, but Wraith kept insisting that she take off her clothes. Abby ignored it and sang "Anyone Who Knows What Love Is" by Irma Thomas, and the audience loved her, except for Swift, who remained jealous. Hope and Charity also praised her performance, but Wraith looked bored throughout. It was Hope who cut the song short and said that while this was the best voice of the season, it was still average, not outstanding. However, she was very beautiful and would succeed in Wraith's adult channel. The three judges began to pressure Abby, forcing her to accept a role in an adult film, reminding her that it was the only way to succeed and escape her life of cycling. The market was saturated with singers, and others would die for the opportunity she had. Bing, who was backstage witnessing everything, tried to save her, but the security guard pulled him away just before Abby. Still feeling dazed and pressured by the audience's constant chants of "Do it," Zrenya agreed to the deal. However, the way she said "I guess so" showed she was completely unhappy. And in fact, she started crying when returning to her room. Swift was also disappointed with the outcome. A few days later, Bing returned to his normal life, but felt terrible about what had happened. He kept the origami penguin Abby gave him, along with her Cupliance box, hiding them under the mattress, and continued his daily life in a gloomy mood, especially when Dustin turned on the adult channel again, making him hear Abby's interviews in a lifeless tone. Because of the money he spent on the golden ticket, Bing had to eat junk food. That night, while playing a game, the advertisement took over the screen, showing Abby's first adult film. Bing didn't have enough money to skip it, so he had to close his eyes, but the loud warning bell made it unbearable for him to endure more than a few seconds. When he opened his eyes, he tried to open the door, but the gates were locked during the commercial. The soulless image of Abby on the screen made Bing unable to bear it. He started panicking, screaming, and hitting the screen until it shattered. Seeing the broken glass on the floor, he tried to use it to cut his tattoo, and came up with a plan. From then on, Bing lived a frugal life, focusing on accumulating merits. He was the first to arrive at the cycling area every morning, using only a drop of toothpaste and no longer buying food. Instead, he took apples stuck in the machine and leftover food from tables. At night, instead of playing games, he practiced a dance before collapsing onto his bed, exhausted. Finally, Bing gathered enough 15 million merits and used it to buy a ticket to Hotshot. On the day of the show, he carried the shard of glass hidden in his clothes, and the metal detector didn't detect it because it was made of glass. He was the first to arrive, but not long after, the room became crowded. Even Glee returned. The only reason Bing was selected quickly was because the security guard was instructed to bring in someone from a different race to change the atmosphere for the screen test. He simply said he was a performer, and when offered a Cupliance, he told the staff member he was already drunk. He even showed her Abby's empty Cupliance box that he had also hidden in his clothes. When he went on stage, the judges didn't say much and quickly allowed him to perform. After a few seconds, Bing started dancing, but then pulled out the shard of glass and held it to his neck, threatening to make everything bloody if anyone came closer. Wraith said he didn't care if Bing died, but Hope instructed the guards to stand still. Both Hope and Charity encouraged him to speak. Bing began to talk about the system they were living in, criticizing how they exploited people like tools and how everyone was driven mad by desperation, cursing the judges for making everything worse. When he finished speaking, the audience was completely silent, shocked by his words. However, when Hope called Bing's performance the most sincere one they had ever had, the audience started to cheer and clap. Hope pretended to understand what Bing was trying to say, praised his performance at Afrobeats, and offered him a chance to continue spreading his message on his channel, providing 30 minutes twice a week on her broadcast. Charity also agreed that she would watch such passionate performances, while Wraith thought the shard of glass was an interesting stunt. Just like Abby, the entire audience accepted. Swift again shouted, "Do it," and the pressure became too much for Bing. forcing him to give in and agree to the deal. A few days later, Glee appeared on Hot Shot and was eliminated for singing poorly. But now there was a new show on TV, where Bing, with a shard of glass at his neck, was angrily speaking out against the system with a look of hatred. The performance ended, his face returned to normal, and he invited the audience to watch the next show the following week. Luxurious apartment, with plenty of fresh orange juice, a fancy penguin statue, and a forested view surrounding him. There were no more advertisements. Remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. Thank you for watching.